Hey,
Sit.
quit showing
Sit.
up your little Skylanders pictures. Give me that phone. No Skylanders pictures. Hello, frightful friends, and welcome back to your favorite show for all things gaming and rarely tech-related, Gentoo. I'm Jonas Pila.
And I'm Gabe Chadwick. Welcome to this hair-raising Halloween episode of Gentoo. We have some bone-chilling content in store, so let's dive in.
According to our sources, the attacks were aimed at catching the attention of a man whose identity
All Detroit has a cancer, and that cancer is
New
crime.
crime wave sweeping Detroit has already claimed the lives
The
of
malfunction
21
caught
police
on camera
officers.
provokes a question. Can we put our safety into the hands of a
An
machine?
OCP holds the scalpel.
Explore the cybernetic world of RoboCop Rogue City as you become the most iconic part man, part machine, all-cop hero in an explosive first-person adventure set in old Detroit. With 20 weapons, upgradable cybernetic abilities, and your mission to uphold the law by any means necessary, it's up to you to decide how to fulfill your prime directives, all while navigating an original story in the world of RoboCop. Get ready to protect the innocent and uphold the law when RoboCop Rogue City releases on November 2nd on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X.
I can't help but notice that many of these structures are not strictly functional. There's a sense of aesthetics, of beauty here.
Unearth mysteries in the Talos Principle, A New Generation. In a world without people, you'll explore a colossal structure filled with secrets. Your decisions will affect the outcome, be it upholding promises, fearing past mistakes, relying on reason, or abandoning humanity. Solve diverse puzzles and employ new abilities in this thought-provoking odyssey with character-driven storytellings and multiple endings. Your adventure in this brave new world awaits on November 2nd on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S.
Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to never miss an episode. Now let's summon some spooky stories from the foxhole.
After crossing the bridge, we proceeded carefully. We knew the armored car was still somewhere around, and we really didn't have anything to counter it now, with our RPGs still being somewhere across the bridge. There's some trenches to the left of us which we wanted to secure quickly, but as we started to hop in there was a colonial waiting for us. The sneaky bugger just let go on his machine gun. Mowed down the guy in front of me, but he was still breathing when I was able to scare him off with my own gun. Then I pushed into the trench to cover for him as our medics could revive the man. As we were sitting in the trench, one of our other men had gone ahead and stolen a colonial truck, and the armored car was chasing him. After my squad mate in the truck had managed to take the truck back to the edge of the bridge, the armored car had finally given up. I pulled out my binoculars and I could see it finally leaving further off to the east, never to return. Now we were able to swarm the colonial bunker base. Now we had the ability to catch any colonial trying to exit this bunker base, but some of our men weren't quite as smart, and they stood right there in the doorway. The colonials would take pot shots with their pistols and whatever else they had left, trying picking us off one by one. But eventually we wiped them out, and we started bringing in heavy explosives to blow this thing up. One engineers came up with high explosive grenades, and they started chucking them at this bunker base. And the rest of us were set on guard duty. Here, we sat around making sure no colonials tried to kill any of our engineers while they were sieging this bunker base. And in the meantime, we were scrounging for any loot or any other materials or supplies that we could take back to our own bunker base. Here we were also able to take a short rest.
Boys, this has been a very successful operation, boys. I'm proud of each and every one of us.
All y'all need is a little bit of patience.
It was here when I was given the order to go find a construction vehicle. Construction vehicles, or CVs that we call them, are used to help construct new bunker bases and better fortifications. And since we were across the bridge now, we needed to find a CV so that way we could start constructing new fortifications and a new bunker base on the opposite side of the bridge to secure our foothold. And it was my job to find that CV. It took me a long while to even find the dang thing, but eventually I got in there, found some fuel, filled her up, started driving towards the front lines. It was a long drive, but it was some of the first quiet that I'd had for the war. Finally, I was here for a successful offensive, not before we are turned away by any defenses, and we were able to shatter the colonial lines about 3 miles east of the city of Faramore. This would allow us to push further around the city of Faramore through using this bridge as an alternate supply route to try and encircle the city of Faramore. The fighting inside of Faramore was still brutal and heavy, and neither side was making any true progress. High Command hoped that this breakthrough on the bridge would give us a new opportunity to finish off the colonials in Faramore. And this concludes another episode of Story from the Foxhole. Don't forget to tune in next week, and have a great rest of your day.
Happy Halloween! Look, I'm a sloth. Hi, I'm Corby, and welcome back to another extra spooky content corner. Horror games! We've all played them, right? My personal first ever horror game was Outlast back in 2013. I was too scared to finish it and remember watching Teens React to Gaming play through the whole thing. Remember them? Man, I wonder what happened to never mind. Anyways, if you look at the world of horror, it is full of lots of dark corridors, disturbing monsters, helpless protagonists, and sometimes lots of useless, flashy backflips. Oh wait, that part was just for Resident Evil. Oopsies! Through all of these games, there is one big question people may have. What started all of this? And to that I say, I don't know. If you want the real answer, Haunted House from 1972, but I don't care about that. Let's talk about the OG horror games of YouTube. There were 2 games that totally blew up on YouTube and kind of colonized the world of online horror game entertainment. One of these games was Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which was absolutely terrifying and kind of made PewDiePie. But the real game I want to talk about here is Slender: The 8 Pages. This game was so huge on YouTube in 2012. And to be honest with you, it's kind of shocking because looking at the games we have now, this is very, very simple. So let's talk about that, shall we? So in Slender, you have one main goal, and that is to wander these woods with your little flashlight here and find 8 pages. But watch out! There is this goofy looking guy named the Slender Man who is secretly trying to kill you. How does he do that? He teleports behind you and just kind of gets up in your face, I guess. And that's literally it. There's not like a map or anything, so you kind of just wander around aimlessly until you find the random landmarks they sprinkled around the place. And before I go on, let me just say, this game looks like trash. If you told me someone made this game for a 24-hour horror game creation competition, I would believe you. Everything is so glossy, and Slenderman looks like he was an avatar made on the Xbox 360. But to be honest with you, that didn't really matter at the time. And not just because of the technology we had at the time when this came out. Amnesia looks like this, and it came out a year before. It shows that simple things like this can work for horror games, because even though it doesn't look that great, the idea that this guy is secretly watching you from the shadows and is always following you was enough to make people terrified to finish this game, even if the payoff was just some text on a black screen. Guess it's not about the Slender Man, but the friends we made along the way. Huh. I guess you could say it was a good ending after. Oh my gosh, is he dead? Where did that even come from? Call an ambulance! I'm so hot in this thing, gosh dang. I'm so hot in here. Ah! And scene. Get me out of this thing. Release me! Sweating my butt off in this stupid fur suit.
Hey, nice job on the analysis of the game last week.
Oh, thanks.
Come on, Jason, you're not a football player.
Tosses it toward the end zone, pass cut, touchdown for Northwest Missouri State. It's Alexander coming up with a catch.
Now that's a football player. Make sure you check out Bearcat Update every Monday at 6 on KNWT TV on YouTube. We got sports news, scores, behind the scenes, and anything to do with Northwest Missouri State University here in Titletown. Check us out.
This week we have a surprise pack covering the music of Spider-Verse. Blast off with some trivia on NASA, then light the city on fire in Hellboy. Keep your eyes peeled for Nerd Central with new episodes each Wednesday at 6 on KNWT TV.
My name is Gabriel Lozano, and welcome to the 7th episode of Audio Odyssey, a show where we go over some of the best video game soundtracks and what makes them so great. This week, we're going to take a look at the soundtrack of the terrifying game Silent Hill 2. If you've played any of the Silent Hill games, you know the music and overall sound design for all the games is absolutely amazing. If it's from the terrifying ambient noise that will always keep you on your toes, or the amazing sound of an electric guitar, the Silent Hill soundtrack will never fail to disappoint. And this is all thanks to the amazing composer Akira Yamaoka. Yamaoka started his composing career writing songs for smaller video games such as Sparkster, Poi Poi 2, NBA in the Zone, and many more. But Yamaoka's career really took off in 1998 when the developers at Team Silent asked him to compose a soundtrack for their upcoming game Silent Hill. Obviously, Silent Hill and its soundtrack was a great success, which led to Yamaoka coming back to work on the rest of Silent Hill soundtracks, the overall sound design for the games, and even the 2 Silent Hill movies that were released back in 2006 and 2012. When choosing which Silent Hill game to talk about, I was torn between the original Silent Hill and the second game because of how amazing both of these soundtracks really are. But I finally decided that I think Silent Hill 2's soundtrack is better because of how much Yamaoka expanded on the music in this game. The first Silent Hill soundtrack is amazing, but it's mostly composed of ambient noises, which is done amazingly, but the soundtrack doesn't really branch off that much from these ambient noises except for a few songs. When writing a soundtrack for a game, especially a horror game, finding the blend between terrifying noises and great music is important. And in Silent Hill 2, I believe Yamaoka really found this perfect blend. In the second game's soundtrack, there's all the ambient and scary noises we heard in the first game, but there's also some great songs thrown into the mix. My favorite being Love Song, which is a great blend of percussion and electric guitar that honestly gives you a break after almost jumping out of your seat 50 times as you play through the game. Not only did Yamaoka find this perfect blend of ambient noises and great music, but the music in the soundtrack is also diverse when it comes to the genres used. Yamaoka's soundtrack goes from upbeat and almost calming to terrifying and ambient, to just straight classic rock. And to be honest, these random genres smashed together makes the game feel amazing, and it really makes this game stand out from the rest. So, next time you're playing Silent Hill, or maybe you're just being chased around by this guy, think about how important and amazing the music of this game really is. And that was another episode of Audio Odyssey. I hope everyone has a great Halloween, and I hope to see everybody back here on Gentoo next week.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mental State, the show where we dive into the psychological side of classic video game characters. This week, we'll be taking a look at Undertale, a game that gives a wonderful example into morality and freedom of choice. Without further ado, let us dive in. The world that this game takes place in is one where monsters live beneath a mountain, trapped by humans long ago. These monsters go about their lives as humans would, working jobs and finding hope wherever possible. 3 characters in particular stick out in their approach to life below ground, those being Papyrus, Undyne, and Sans. For Papyrus, we find that his goal in life is to become part of the Royal Guard, which requires him to capture a human. Upon meeting the player character, he can hardly contain his excitement, and lays out puzzle after puzzle for them to solve. Towards the end of this encounter, he realizes that he'd prefer to have a friend in the human, rather than a quarry. For Undyne, her goal is to capture the human for their soul. In doing so, the monsters would finally be free from the underground. Through interacting with the human, however, she finds that they are a kind person, and stops in her crusade. Our last character, Sans, is one that is clouded in hints. He shows off his love for bad jokes upon first meeting him, and continues to provide guidance throughout the game. Upon nearing the end, we find that he is the judge of our character, determining the human sentence based on how they interacted with the world. If they were a pacifist or neutral character, he would be apathetic towards their actions. If they were genocidal, however, he would unleash one of the hardest boss fights in the entire game. morality as a concept deals with a person's sense of right and wrong. Undertale handles this in an interesting way, showing the progression of the monster's morals throughout the game. Initially, you are hunted and harmed by the citizens of the underground. You see this in both Undyne and Papyrus, as they hunt you down for their own gain. As the player progresses, their actions influence how the monsters view the player. Acts of kindness lead to some of the most heartfelt scenarios, showing the depth of their emotions with each sequential interaction. Distancing yourself, however, leads to a cold shoulder from the citizens. The more you kill, the less human they treat you. Thank you for coming into my office. I have once again been Dr. Snotterly. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week for our 8th session.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Dude, I just think I stepped on a kid. I'm sorry. Oh, shoot. Dude, that was really bad.
Alright.
What are we watching again?
We're watching the Hunger Games movie, right?
Yeah, the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Whoa, wait. This is not the Hunger Games movie at all.
What is Five Nights at Freddy's? Is this a pizza? Is this just a pizza place?
Dude, it's like pita bread, you know, with the bread and the pizza and
I don't
like because it got the guy from the Hunger Games. What's his name?
Pita?
Pita?
I don't.
Yeah, pita bread. Yeah.
I don't think that. There's a lot of things wrong with that, and I don't. You know what?
Dude.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
But no,
What's this?
Is it about like? Dude, are those animals?
No, it's like you know, there's like really creepy Mickey Mouse things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to Dark and Dumber. I'm your host, Evan. Hotfix 18 just came out with some nerfs to range characters like Ranger and Wizard, and loot drops have been nerfed, so back to only finding grays and whites while looting. This hotfix also brings an inventory wipe, so any previous loot I had is all gone, but that's the grind of Dark and Darker. I still have my high level characters and another couple weeks till patch 2 comes to wipe everything, so let's start rebuilding some loot. Still waiting for the rest of my party, I run some goblin caves. Using the first team to warm up, I don't really have a plan on making it out alive, I'm just here for the violence. Getting myself prepped for fighting mobs and players alike, because you can't ever be caught off your toes in the dungeon, or else you're done for. Finding a geared fighter and being completely naked myself, I take the challenge. A lone ranger comes in, after teaming together to help take out this fighter, but even with the advantage, I couldn't get in and he caught me. Now let's take a second to talk about the state of the game. With this most recent hotfix, a lot of big changes happened, and even bigger ones are on the way, with the massive second patch coming mid-November. This is rumored to have the new character Druid included, but nothing has been confirmed yet, and this is all alleged. What we do know is what characters and loot have been affected by this most recent hotfix. Minor things that have been changed is that potion and bandages are now stackable up to 3 again, which the community has been waiting for back since they took it out in spring playtesting. Also changing what items the vendors sell to help make the vendors more diverse. The big changes came with player nerfs and loot drops. Ranger was finally nerfed by lowering the damage of the crossbow and longbow, but they increased his arrow count, so it didn't do a whole lot to him. Loot drops on the other hand have been completely gutted back to their original state. No longer the days of being able to find a regular chest and see a green. It's only whites and worse from here on. Hopefully patch 2 will help to balance those things out, but for now we'll have to make do. Finally getting all members of our party, we set our sails for the crypt. Making good progress during our run, we all acquire decent kits with what we find in the dungeon, deciding that we're gonna go down. We left pretty early, so we have some time to kill in the waiting room. While this may not be a Halloween-themed episode, we still experienced a horror story in hell. Instantly finding a berserker that killed our wizard, then getting jumped by 2 hellhounds that ripped our faces off. Learning that we were, in fact, not ready to go down. Thank you for tuning in this week for Dark and Dumber. I'll see you guys next time. And make sure to subscribe. or else.
The news that matters most is the news that hits close to home. Maryville or Bearcat news, whatever the story, we're there for you.
It could be about you, school, or your safety. Whatever it is, we got you covered.
You need to know what's going on in the Northwest Maryville community, and this is a place to find it all out.
This is our home too, and we're in this together.
We are Channel 8 News, covering for you.
KZLX is a student-run radio station where Northwest students have complete freedom during their shifts. KZLX also hosts many radio shows such as Nerdmageddon, Revive, Day-to-Day Picks, and more. To learn more, visit kzlxfm.com.
Welcome back to Mustard's Madness, where this week we'll be facing a potential playoff matchup in the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo. We hop straight into this matchup, drawing an early shooting foul against Joe Ingles, and I'm able to make both free throws. Giannis is such an interior threat that I'm forced to help crash the boards all game, and this can be the result. I run the fast break with little to no resistance and throw down an athletic two-handed back scratcher. Ingles tried to cheat the play, which gave me a backdoor cut for another easy slam, getting my first poster of the game. With Ingles being a bad defender, the goal is to attack him all game, so I get Fox to set me a screen, which leads to him getting an open layup. Here I help my teammate corral a rebound and get a steal on Giannis, both examples of the hustle that's going to be required today. We try and tack on some extra pressure on the fast break, pushing it to Ingles again, drawing his second foul in the first half. I split the free throws, cutting the deficit down to 6. We put Joe Ingles in the pick and pop, which he's not able to defend, leaving me open for my first 3 of the night. The next fast break opportunity, I push the ball up the court to Fox, who's able to find me cutting down the paint and throwing down the one-handed dunk. With my takeover activated, I get double-teamed, leaving my teammate open for another assist. On another fast break, I'm able to cut behind the defense, but get sucked into this animation. However, I'm not complaining as it draws Ingles' 4th foul, sending him to the bench as I convert the and one. To start the second half, we're down by 4, but a mean jab step got me into the paint, drawing another foul, this time on Brook Lopez. I'm able to get these 2 points at the stripe instead. I get doubled by Giannis on this drive, which lets me find my open man, Lyles, who knocks down the 3, retaking the lead. 2 more rebounds and another assist to De'Aaron Fox gets our lead up to 5 in the 4th quarter. Every possession matters, so the plan is to go back to attacking Ingles, which lets Fox slip behind the defense once again. After they cut the deficit back to 3, the lack of interior defense on this play allowed me to drive down the right for a finger roll layup. Bucks won't go away without a fight, which leads to an inbounds play where I find myself open for a long 2, and even with a hand in the face, I knock it down. A 3-point lead under 40 seconds is never safe, and when Giannis attacks the basket, this offensive rebound leads to the ball going out of bounds on us, giving them another attempt. This time Middleton gets the inbounds pass and fires a quick 3, but we can't secure a rebound, and the ball finds Giannis. They reset and get the ball to Giannis in the paint, who tries a shot over 2 defenders and misses. We finally secure the rebound with 20 seconds left. They are forced to play the foul game. I knock down both free throws, putting the lead up to 5. However, a lack of defense on my part leaves Pat Connaughton open for 3, which thankfully he misses, and they foul again. 2 more free throws finally put this game away, and a last-second 3 by Holiday is offline, giving us a narrow victory. One thing I noticed from this game is that the more the team trusts me to run the offense, I run out of stamina pretty fast, so I'm going to max that out. I also put my vertical to 70 to help me dunk over taller defenders. My strength is a little low, so I put 16 points into that to try and help, and the last bit of EC we have will go into defensive rebounding. As I set a career high with 8 in this game, that could be much better. That will do it for now. Make sure to tune in next week as we have our final game before the playoffs start.
We've made it. We finally made it past the information dump this game has. But hey, A game this big with this much of a story behind it is going to take a while to cover, right? We've looked at all the highs and lows of this game. Now let's actually have some fun with it.
Getting one of my good feelings.
Halo's Forge mode. Ever played it? Well, if you haven't, it's basically a giant sandbox. Gmod's another common example. You can create pretty much anything in-game as long as you have the eye to do it. That is Cyberpunk's photo mode. This was a last-minute addition that kind of took everybody by surprise with a trailer right before its release. I actually could find my old YouTube comment about how much of this game was going to consume my life. And Lord was I right. Photo mode allows you to take in-game screenshots by freezing the game's current moment to allow you to set up V in different various poses and tweaks to make a cool screenshot, which you can see me doing right here. Now, obviously, I and one of my many talented friends here are using mods. They aren't required, but it becomes next level if you're on PC and you add mods into the mix. But don't worry about modless consumers. If you're creative enough, this game can still look really pretty. Just had to be resourceful. As for the people who already know what I'm talking about, just look at this. Mods are crazy, dude. Mods are crazy. Some allow you to pose multiple characters, some with lights, props, and even in some cases work with animations with other characters in total. Now, I'm pretty bad at two people, honestly, but I sure do know how to make my V look like she's about to devour your soul. Here's a sped up video of me creating a scene with my V sitting on her computer, using some of the various easy to install mods from the Cyberpunk Nexus page. I could spend hours on this. And honestly, wouldn't be surprised if most of the time I've spent in this game is actually spent in this mode alone. It's nothing too complex or groundbreaking, but this was just a really cool thing that the game didn't really need to add, but they still did anyway. And personally, it makes that connection to your character even stronger. Speaking of, next week on Cyberpunk, I'm going to gush a little bit more about V and why they as a character make this series and this game so special. Catch you later, Choom. Zach out.
Hello and welcome back to I'm Not a Loser, where I show you how to be as good at video games as I am. When it comes to games of any kind, I'm just a natural. But today, we're playing what I believe is the most scarily easy game I've ever played, Dead by Daylight. When playing Killer in Dead by Daylight, I consider myself a prowler. In Dead by Daylight, there are two positions that you can play, Killer or Survivor. Seeing as I'm not a coward, I always play Killer. When playing Killer, you have to know your loadout and perks like the back of your hand. These can give you abilities that will help you stalk your prey. You can also get items that buff your overall core ability, which each killer possesses their own unique abilities. When in a match, time is not on the killer's side. The killer has to stop the survivors from starting up 5 generators that will lead to their escape, which I am great at stopping, by the way. You can prevent their escape by hooking the survivors 3 times. Survivors will stop at nothing to prevent this from happening, so be careful. When playing Killer, the ways that you can avoid losing time is by giving up on chases early, because sometimes you're wasting more time chasing somebody down than just checking generators and looking for injured or hiding survivors. The final and most important part of Dead by Daylight is generator patrolling. When you are at the beginning of a match, you have no idea where the survivors are located, and this is arguably the most important part of the match. The beginning is where you can get a head start on hooking survivors, which will more than likely make the game go smoother. While the game is relatively balanced, it is still hard to go up against 4 real people in a match. But to be fair, when going up against me, that just helps them make it a bit more even. So always be checking generators and patrolling them to rat out any survivors. Hopefully these tips and tricks make your slashing and bashing just a little bit easier. Remember that even though I'm amazing at being killer, it does take some time and practice to truly master a killer. When playing Dead by Daylight, you need to look at so many different things that it may be dizzying. But remember, failing is all part of the process. So go on, you have some survivors to stop.
That's a wrap for me. Jonas, it's me, Garrett Bevins.
Garrett, you're back?
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I got hit by a camera actually, and it turns out I am actually a ghost.
Wow, well, I mean, thanks for coming to visit me while you're a ghost, I guess.
No problem. I really want to come visit you one last time as a ghost. You know, I really miss you as a co-host.
I miss having you as a co-host as well. Thank you.
Do you want to just sign off with one more time?
Yeah, of course. Let's go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah.
Take the lead.
Thank you. And that's a wrap in this chilling episode of Gentoo.
If you found it hauntingly entertaining, don't forget to give it a thumbs up.
For more hauntingly great Gentoo content, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and while you're at it, why don't you go revisit some of our previous episodes.
Our next episode is Lurking in the Shadows, so make sure you tune in. We'll see you next time.